How's it going, everybody? Hold on, I'm deleting the previous stream because there was a problem. And it's 0 seconds long. I hope everybody's doing great. Let me just make sure the stream's going. There we go. We're live. It says live, so that's good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Last one I said, okay, let's go live. And then it was 0 seconds and it just got deleted, apparently. Or I just deleted it. But anyway, hope everyone's doing great. Welcome to the Spaghetti Stream 004. It is I, the cyborg human, Chris, the life form. I mean, regular human. Regular humans drink Waterloo, ladies and gentlemen. See? Guava berry. What cyborg drinks guava berry? Excuse me? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. So, like I said, hope you're having a great day. There's a few cool things going on with me, specifically, but as far as like things that you may not care about, but I care about. So it's kind of probably pointless for me to say it on this stream, but, and then there's some, news and stuff. We got stuff about AI. We got stuff about Italian brain rot. What is it? I guess it's nothing new, but the thing is, like, I was looking on like Maker World for things to print, and I came across it on Maker World. I'm like, what are these things? It's Italian brain rot. We got VR news because I am getting more into VR. I used to have a Quest 2. I'm waiting on my Quest 3 to come in. So that'll be cool. Some 3D printing stuff, video games. I'm not a video gamer. I mean, I'm a top tier video gamer, just like Elon Musk, in case you didn't know. And then a couple other fun things. We'll see how much of this I actually like talk about or get through, because we'll just see. But I want you, if you would like, to go over. Oh, and look at how organized this is. Check this out. Boom. There's my spaghetti stream. Yeah. I really got to fix that because it just ends abruptly. That's real, right? But look at how organized my stream is. Look at that. Isn't that great? So to start with, this is my giveaway. All right. And it's over in 9 hours, so it'll be probably done by the time you watch this. And it's a $100 gift card giveaway to matterhackers.com, which is a 3D printing company. And so if you would like to get a new nozzle, or if you would like to get some 3D printing filament, some silk filament, some blue filament, green filament, yellow filament, whatever filament, then go to spaghettioverdrive.com/giveaways. And I'm doing this monthly, so this is the second time. Next month I'll be doing another. Next month I may just give actual like filament out or some kind of thing just to test that, to see how well that does compared to a gift card, because gift cards are cool and stuff. You're like, sweet, $100 to a specific place. It's a little more specific than cash. Cash is like, I can spend that on anything. Gift cards like specifically gonna appeal to specific people who are interested in the store that the gift card is for. But then specific items like filament is cool because you're like, sweet, I get a physical item. But it's even more specific to certain people who may or may not want the filament, for example. So it may or may not do better than a gift card giveaway. But that's what I want to test, right? I could give away a 3D printer, but I'm not sure that I would have the funds to be able to do that. But I'll see. I think at one point I want to give away like a bamboo mini. I think that would be cool, or something like that. Something inexpensive, relatively inexpensive, right? So you can enter to win with all these different ways, and I'm going to be doing the same thing like next month as well. So, subscribe to the newsletter, visit the store, visit my YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, enter a secret code, which I forgot where I put that. I think it was on the Instagram post, and so on and so forth. So check out the giveaway. It's really simple, and you could win a $100 gift card. So you can enter, many times as you want, and no purchase necessary in the U.S. only, I think. Maybe not. Actually, it's a gift card, so it may not be in the. There's some fine print somewhere, but also I'm pretty sure like anybody who can shop at Matter Hackers can just use the gift card. So that's my gift card. Giveaway ends today, but I will be doing another one next month, early in the month. So check every month if you want to enter it. So it's July 20th. So, in a couple more weeks, I'll be doing another one. Also, I did buy a Quest. This is the Quest, in case you didn't know. You're like, yeah, I already have one. Or you're like, yeah, I know what it is, so what? But have you ever used one is the question. So I had the Quest 2, and it was cool, and it was fun, but I noticed the quality of the screen. I noticed the quality was, like, not the most amazing. There was, like, a little bit of a screen door effect, I think, and then, like, the lenses were a little kind of warped in a certain way, and it was still really cool and really fun. I mostly did Beat Saber, and I mostly did, like, what's the gun shooting one? The main gun shooting one. I forgot what it's called. And a couple other games, and watched a couple things, but I was like, really cool, but it'd be cool if it was higher quality and stuff. So I'm expecting, based on what I've seen, that the 3 will be much higher quality. They have this thing right here, this, I don't know how long they've had this promo with the Batman Arkham Shadow game that comes with it if you purchase it. So I bought it off of eBay because I was trying to find, like, the best deal and stuff, and I was like, oh, they had a payment plan over time. Otherwise, it was kind of the same price as, like, elsewhere. And so I was like, well, I'll do that then. And so it came with the Batman Arkham Shadow. I don't have it in yet, hasn't arrived yet. But my goal here is to get into VR more, and so I kind of need a headset if I'm going to get into VR more. My dream console or VR headset right now is the Bigscreen, the little tiny one. And then there's a couple others that look cool, but that's kind of the one I want just because of how small it is and how it's, if you were watching, like, Ghost in the Shell or something, and you'd see all these regular people walking around with, like, cybernetic implants and stuff, and it looks like something that they would be wearing, and I'm like, that's really cool. Like, I could do that. I would wear that. I don't know if it has, like, cameras. I don't know if the big screen has cameras or not. Let me take a look and see. I don't think it does. Big screen VR. I don't see cameras just from the picture here. Go away. And they do have another version. So is that a camera right there in the corner, or is that just a screw? This is the Beyond 2, so yeah, I really want to check it out, though. It seems super cool. Pancake lenses. Let's see, reduce, improve, massive sweet spot. 116-degree field of view. What is the MetaQuest 3 field of view? You know what would be cool is if we had a 180-degree field of view, or whatever, matching our eye field of view, Speaking of that, well, that's in some news. You may have seen it already, the new Meta headsets that have been revealed, which I don't know if they are actually coming out or anything. It looks like maybe they will be coming out. Okay, I don't know. But anyways, 116 field of view, pretty high resolution. Now, is that combined? It's probably combined, right? 32 pixels, peak pixels per degree. I do not know what is good there, so I'd have to look that up. Is that good? You tell me. What was I looking for again? Oh, to see if they even have cameras on the front. Like, these may be screw holes, but they have a one. Wait, 2E. What is 2E? Oh, integrated eye tracking. So the regular one doesn't have integrated eye tracking. Beyond 2E. Okay, so it does have eye tracking. Beyond 2E. I'm guessing that stands for eye. It's $1,000 or $1,200. So there is a new color. There's a new color. It was some collaboration or like some kind of new. Let me look it up real quick. Big screen VR new color is VR Chat Edition with Atomic Purple. VR Chat Edition. Wait, when is this? July 16th. Yeah, this was just a few days ago. Introducing the Big Screen Beyond 2E VR Chat Edition. So this is the 2E with eye tracking. And It's basically, I think, just a different color, so purple. Pretty sure that's it. But cool, I guess. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Long nights spent in VR chat. Who are you? Are you spending long nights in VR chat? Stop it. I've been in there once and twice, and I was like, I'm out of here. It can be kind of cool, but I don't know. Like, if I had other friends in VR chat and we were like chilling in there, maybe that would be kind of cool. I guess you could like meet new people. Tethered headset without battery life. For multi-hour VR sessions. Okay, but all right, who plays VR like in that outfit? That's just what I want to know. And if you do, let me know so I could come over and watch it. I'm just kidding. To improve fidelity. Okay, but what makes it VR chat? Atomic purple, custom design. Okay, so it's the packaging. That's all it is. And exclusive items in VR chat. Unlock exclusive digital items like VR chat items, VR chat stickers, and badges for the VR for profiles in VR chat limited edition. So, if you want the VR chat edition, you can pre-order it. Pre-order now. It's slightly more, like $100 or $150 more, something like that, or a little bit more anyway. Yeah, because the Beyond 2E was how much again? Anyway, kind of cool looking. You know, I like the look of it. Purple. I think the orange might be more of my taste. But if you like VR chat. So, that is what I'm doing. I'm waiting for the Quest 3. It's going to come in tomorrow, supposedly. It's supposed to come in Friday, but it got pushed over. And then I'm going to try a bunch of different things on it, but I'm going to try to do some like design work on there, see how that works out, and then 3D print it, which I think would be a fun thing. I'll try to sculpt on it and then print it out, and it'll be like, what is this horrible monstrosity? So that's my goal. That is my goal. Another thing so this is like hobbies and stuff. That's what the section is. This has been something that some of us have been waiting on. The X-Shot Pro Motorized Piston Pump Toy Dart Blaster by Zuru. Boom! Now, this, so Michael at Matter Hackers, shout out to him, but he kind of got me into some of this Nerf stuff, you know? And this particular one is cool because it is a little bit unique in that it's an AEB. So if you're not familiar, it is motorized and it has a spring in it. And a Springer blaster is very common. It is known to be basically the most reliable type of Nerf blaster if you're like playing for either sport or hobby or competitive. And so they are like typically the most reliable and they can be the most powerful, and they can be just the most accurate, the Springers. So what the AEB is it has motorized gears and everything, and it has a spring just like the regular Springers, but it's not manual. This is automatic, so it's powered so that it'll pull the spring back for you instead of, I'll show you here. This is the X-Shot, another one of their branded ones, but this is one where it's manual, so you have to actually pump it, and now it's ready to go, and then you can shoot it. There's nothing in it right now. And so it's manual. This one is cool because it will do that for you, and it has 2 settings. It has single and full auto mode. And so they just came out with this, but people have been kind of waiting for this and being like, this is going to be potentially a game changer in the hobby. And the reason is because of Zuru's, they do cheap products that kind of hit above their, what do you call it? Hit above the belt, hit above their level. Is that how you say it? They tend to be higher value than their price. So like the one I just showed you is only $15, but it works great. This one works great, and it's only $15. And then they have another one that's bigger, that's like $30 or around there, and also works great. And this one seems to be, this one's about $70 around there. And it seems to be, it could be great. The AEBs can be expensive, $200 plus. And so this one is $70. So that's a big difference from a typical, if you want to get a good AEB, could be in the hundreds of dollars from my limited knowledge. And this is only $70. So that is a big deal. It's like a huge, in the industry or in the hobby, it's a huge difference. And so it lowers the barrier of entry to a higher quality, theoretically, blaster that works really well in terms of both accuracy as well as being automatic. So ease of use, I guess you could call that. So this is how you turn it on. And then that's how it sounds. So that's just primed, I guess, or there's a dart ready to go, whatever you call that, primed. I don't think you'll be able to see the dart shoot, but you'll be able to hear it for sure. Yeah, like you really can't even see the dart. Can you see it on screen? I don't know if you can. I'll shoot it right past. It just bounced off the wall over there and back over here. So it's pretty powerful, and you could make it theoretically more powerful by switching out the spring, and you can also make it faster. So auto mode is not super fast with this, but you can actually switch out the battery, and then you can make it even more faster. So here's auto mode. I'm trying to figure out where to shoot it here. So that's pretty gnarly, and I don't know if that comes across pretty loud to you, but that's pretty loud. It's almost sounding like some kind of real gun, or some kind of, like, maybe it's a what do you call it, like a paintball gun or something like that, with how crazy it sounds and how it feels. You can actually feel the kickback, which I think is going to add to the fun. Some people might worry, well, now it's starting to be a little more realistic. I don't know, man. You got like pink, orange all over it. Yeah, the style looks a little more realistic. Whatever. I'm not really going to talk about that. So, yeah, super cool. I'm pretty excited to play with it, like in an actual game, going out and shooting at people and people shooting at me. We'll see how it works out, but that should be cool. Because I've been playing around with like different 3D printed ones, and it's just kind of like hit and miss as far as like me building one that's reliable, that I can go and take and use. And so just being able to buy a cool one from the stores is really neat. That works well right out of the get-go. For this price, it's really cool. So there's going to be a lot of people who are interested in this, and it's just kind of a somewhat, if it works well, if it's reliable over time, it could be a game changer, and it is a game changer as far as the technology goes. So I got one of those, so that'll be fun. And then finally, I don't know if any of you are interested in Gundam, but I just finished watching Gundam Wing, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, which is from the 90s. I used to watch it when I was younger on TV, and I totally did not remember the storyline, or I didn't remember understanding the story while I was watching it, and so I was like, oh, I'll watch it again because I love mech animes, and can't say that I've really watched or read a lot of mangas. I've read a couple, but animes in particular. And one of them was Gundam. And then I've also watched Pat Labor. I've watched Appleseed. Don't know if the character, like one of the main characters, the guy who has like a robotic head. Yeah, I think he's more of like a cyborg, not quite sure. And then some other shows like Ghost in the Shell has like the Tachikomas, which are like AI robots. So anything that has to do with like robots and stuff, I really like. And then I want to play those what's the new game that's like the mech game that's like really popular? Something, it's number 6 in the series, right? I forgot the name. And then haven't played it. And then there's like a couple other ones that have come out recently. I just don't have like a PC. I don't have like a PlayStation or anything like that. But I'm thinking what would be super cool is the VR. If there's like these games that I could play on VR, that would be a lot of fun. In fact, that would be one of the best usages of VR, is these types of games where you're enclosed in something like a car or a mech warrior type of thing. And I think that would be just it just work really well for VR, is what I'm saying. And so I'm looking forward to trying some things. Hopefully there's some mech games for VR for the Quest that I could try. And but all that aside, the Gundam Card Game is something that's new. It just came out recently. Actually, it just came out on the 11th, I believe. So just like 9 days ago, July 11th. There are 4 starter decks, and you can even get, which it's like not really, I've called a few places. Nobody has any of these cards that I've seen. I've only seen them purchasable online. So I bought a couple of the decks, not the full starter deck with the little characters, the figurines in it, which I wanted, but once they become available, there were some that are on Amazon, but it looked like they were Japanese. So I didn't want to get those because I didn't want to like try to learn Japanese. But I want the little characters. But I did order a couple decks because I want to play it, and then also like a lot of the local like shops, like game shops, game stores, gaming, tabletop gaming, that kind of thing. They are actually going to have events weekly, a lot of them, for Gundam. So, in fact, one near me is going to do that, and they will have cards in the near future because it has not been out very long. So, people are not, they have not learned the game very well yet. Some people I'm sure have been playing it for, days at a time. So you can learn the rules. There's an app actually where you can learn the rules, teaching app, and I've been playing that a little bit to learn them. There's quite a few rules. It's a little bit different than Magic, which I used to play when I was younger. So I played Magic and I played Pokemon, which, my brothers played Pokemon, but I played it a couple times. I mostly was interested in Magic. And with Magic, you kind of just have just the one deck, and then all your cards are in the deck, and as you reveal them during the game, you place them down, and there's like your resource cards, and then there's your monsters, and there's your spells, but they're all in one deck. With Gundam, you kind of separate some of them out. So you'll separate out your shield cards. I don't know if there's a mat here somewhere that I can show. Cards that are like your base / shields, which your opponent can attack, or you can attack your opponent's shields. And then there's like your Gundams, which are in the main deck. And so everything else is kind of in the main deck, except for your resource cards are, I believe, also separate. So you place a resource card down every round, and so they're separate. So you don't have to like fish around your deck for them and hope you have some resource cards. And then you have your base cards, and then you have your main deck, and then they all go in different spots. So it's a little bit different in that way. And it seems like, I don't know this for sure, but it seems like it might be even more complicated than Magic. Maybe not, but just because of that alone, where there's different kinds of cards that are out all at the same time, and then each of the cards themselves have different abilities and stuff. So it may become more complicated than Magic, but I don't know yet. So it has the teaching app, and then there's going to be a lot of events. World Championships 25-26 have been confirmed. So that'll be cool if you're into card games. Here's a picture of the mat, but it's like really small here, so hard to see. Which is just kind of like tells you where everything goes and everything like that. And you can get 4 different decks right now. And there's multiple colors, so there's green, red, blue, and white. And certain colors, I guess, go together better than others, potentially. But we'll see how it is. Maybe I'll do a little review once I get them in. I had to find them online. It's going to take like a week or 2 to get to me. So I just thought it was really cool, and looking forward to playing it. All right. That's just some of the things that I've been doing, some of the hobbies and stuff I've been kind of into. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to put this sweater on, but it's like freaking hot. Oh, I turned the fan off. That's why. Hold on. Let me turn this fan on. I'm going to turn the fan on. Because I unplugged it. There. That's why. Because when I had the sweater on, I had the fan on, and then I turned it off because I switched a bunch of stuff around here. And now for some AI news. All my topics are kind of random, so it is what it is. It's going to go from AI to Italian Brainrot to VR to 3D printing. This was kind of interesting to me. Former OpenAI engineer describes what it's really like to work there. So I was just kind of curious about what it's like to work at like one of these places with a bunch of geniuses that make tons of money. 3 weeks ago, an engineer named Calvin French Owen, who worked on one of the OpenAI's most promising new products, resigned from the company. And he made a fascinating blog post on what it was like working there for a year, including the sleepless sprints to build Codex, which is OpenAI's new coding agent. I kind of wish I was a coder sometimes. But then I think of how grueling that sounds. He didn't leave because of any drama, but because he wanted to get back to being a startup founder. But here's some of the stuff he revealed. Everything breaks when you scale that quickly. He's talking about ChatGPT and how quickly it grew. Reporting structures, how to ship products, how to manage and organize people, hiring processes, and so on. Like a small startup, people are still empowered to act on their ideas with little to no red tape. Coding skills vary. Stuff frequently breaks or can take excessive time to run, but top engineering managers are aware of this and are working on improvements. Things like launching Spirit. OpenAI doesn't seem to know that it's a giant company right down to running entirely on Slack. So I wonder, what do they run on when they're bigger than that, typically? Feels very much like a... What's that beeping? Something was beeping and I don't know what it was. Oh, it's probably this, the piston pump, because I don't think I deprimed it. French Owens described how a senior team of around 8 engineers, 4 researchers, 2 designers, 2 go-to-market staff, and a product manager built and launched Codex in only 7 weeks, start to finish, with almost no sleep. There we go. Deprimed. But launching it was magic. Let's see what else. ChatGPT is a highly scrutinized company. This led to a culture of secrecy in an attempt to clamp down on leaks to the public. At the same time, the company watches X. If a post goes viral there, OpenAI will see it too, possibly respond to it. The company runs on Twitter vibes. Twitter vibes? Ugh. The biggest misconception about OpenAI is that it isn't as concerned about safety as it should be. Huh? Certainly, a lot of AI safety folks, including former OpenAI employees, have criticized its processes. While there are doomsayers worrying about theoretical risks to humanity, internally there's more focus on practical safety like hate speech, abuse, manipulating political biases, crafting bioweapons, self-harm, prompt injection. So basically, freedom of speech. Excuse me? Like, what if I want to craft a bioweapon, okay? But really, some of this stuff like hate speech is somewhat ambiguous. Like, define hate speech, please. Is it just what you define hate speech as? Because that could be a problem. Like, if you have a company or an individual saying, we need to regulate hate speech, and your definition is just what you think hate speech is or what an organization thinks hate speech is, how should you apply that definition to the majority if maybe the majority doesn't, or a lot of people doesn't think that's hate speech? You know what I'm saying? Like, you might have a proprietary definition there, but like maybe some people don't agree with you. Should you, that's the age-old question, right? How much should you limit freedoms? Now, when you're talking about like an individual company or something, like, that's great. You can limit whatever freedoms you want in your private company. But when you're talking about something like AI, which seems like it might become something like a public utility type of thing, right? Like they've been debating like whether, I guess, social media platforms should be like public utilities. I believe that was a debate that's going on now. Just because like everybody uses it and it's like a public square sort of thing. So is AI going to be like a public utility, and so should it regulate anything? Or, there could be different versions. Like maybe you can just have like light mode, regulated mode, hate speech regulation mode, child mode, and that sort of thing. And then you can regulate it yourself. But, anyways. OpenAI isn't ignoring the long-term potential impacts. There are researchers looking at them, and it's aware that hundreds of millions of people are using its LLMs today for everything from medical advice to therapy and law stuff. I was using it for law stuff for some things in the past few weeks, but not as like the end all of advice for legal advice. In fact, they tell you, it's like, do not use the AI for legal advice. The AI is always like, consult an attorney, please. You can like use it for research, but if you want like specific advice and stuff, you really should consult. There's services online too for like all sorts of legal stuff. But yeah, this is just a quick little OpenAI thing to see what it's really like to work there. I just thought it'd be interesting to read. Not super interesting. Sounds like kind of just like a typical company that's like a tech company that grows really fast. So nothing particularly crazy here that I'm seeing as far as like how OpenAI works. Let's see now what's next. You can now generate your own buildable Lego designs. Oh yeah, so here's a cool little thing. So this is from Design Boom, which I think the website's kind of cool looking. But you can 3D AI create. You can AI create Lego designs. Lego GTP for custom Lego designs. So you will feed it information and it'll automatically create Legos based on what you told it. Very low resolution. Using text prompts, users can generate their own buildable Lego designs, a la OpenAI's ChatGPT with Lego GTP, designed by the researchers at Carnegie Mellon University. And they're going to be physically stable Lego brick models based on text input. The only thing is they are low resolution, so it can do like blocky stuff like this, but not more intricate stuff. So it's a little limited. Here's a little video here. And kind of cool, I guess, if you want to build Lego stuff. But the thing is, like, the stuff's so simple, like, it's not really necessary. It's a cool idea to, like, use AI to, like, create a Lego thing. It's just so low resolution that you could figure this out yourself. You could figure out how to make a bench yourself. What is this? You can figure out how to make a... Like, what the heck is that? I don't even know what that is. You can't even tell. Oh, like a guitar, I guess? Yeah. All right. I guess it's a guitar. Let's check out the website here. So just mildly cool? Where's the link? Hold on. The link's around here somewhere. Here we go. Lego GTP. The only problem is I tried doing this, and it was like, you got to pay first. So let's just see. A Gundam Death Scythe. I guess. Error. Upgrade your AI experience. So like you can't even do it unless you pay $9. So if you want to try that, go ahead and tell me how it is. But here's some other examples. And they're all going to be like blocky benches or like a train. Again, this is all very basic levels of intricacy with the designs. It looks like they tell you what the bricks are. Right here, I guess. Yeah. This seems like it could be useful if they could make it more higher resolution. Like if I wanted to create a Gundam character, like Gundam Death Scythe. Death Scythe Hell. That's the name. I didn't just swear, that's the actual name of the character. Is if it was a much higher resolution than this. Because this looks like super, like I don't even know what this looks like. Is that supposed to be a train or is that supposed to be an F1 car? Not quite sure. kind of cool nonetheless. And this is one of, I think, many things that AI could be good at doing in conjunction with other things like Legos in this example, or in terms of like building something, or 3D printing, of course, or AI creating a Lego, quote unquote, thing that you can then 3D print to then put together, you know. Not Lego blocks, but Legolas blocks. You know what I'm saying? Like something other than the Lego brand. Legolas blocks. Yeah. Man, that was a great news article. Wow. So cool. So cool. Don't think I'll be cutting that out and putting it up on as a standalone video because it was not really that interesting, to be honest. I don't even know why I left that in here. I just thought it was kind of cool. Not even super cool. Don't know what the usefulness is that really. Or how useful that would be. What is Italian brain rot? Well, let me just show you here what Italian brain rot is if you have not familiarized yourself with Italian brain rot. Italian brain rot is meme type stuff for apparently kids this age. And me. The Gen Alpha. So this is Gen Alpha, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to know what Gen Alpha's up to and what their mental state will be growing up, this is what they are. This is what they are consuming. It is a bizarre trend. So brain rot is the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, particularly due to excessive consumption of online content considered trivial or unchallenging. Yeah, that's a pretty good definition. I have never actually put words to that. So this Gen Alpha phenomenon taken social media by storm. Really? I guess by Gen Alpha. I've not been on those social media circles, apparently, to be able to see it on my social feeds. Much like Skibbity Toilet. I guess, is Skibbity Toilet considered an Italian brain rot? Because it's of the same sort of style. They're going to actually show pictures. Yeah, they are. Maybe not? Where's the pictures? All right, I'll find the pictures in a second. Here are the names. They are different characters, like Ballerina Cappuccina. And I'll show you them in a second. Hold on. Tralalero Tralala. Oh, here they do show some pictures. Cappuccino Assassino, which is a cappuccino assassin. Here you go. This one is Tung Sahur. Okay, this is like him growing up or whatever. But he's like a creepy looking piece of wood with a baseball bat. Bombardier Crocodile. Bombardiro Crocodile airplane. And there's more, but so let me just go to Maker World because you can actually, there are people who have turned these into printable items. That you can print if you want to. And you should, because why not? Because that's what 3D printing is about. So there's Tralalero Tralala, which is a shark wearing shoes. Kind of cool, huh? You like that? Do you like that? I like it. And then this is the one I printed, the Trippy Troppy. But let me see if I can find the one I actually printed. Here's Ballerina Cappuccina. Very cute. Like some of these are actually, like this one's kind of a cute one. Looks like something out of Disney. And this is the creepy tongue guy. Oh, this is like this is kind of like a chibi version. He's like taller and creepier than that usually. So there's all sorts. There's the Bombardiro Crocodile. I don't even know how to say these things. There he is. Oh my gosh. So anyway, that's Italian brain rot. In case you didn't know, now you know, and you are a better person. You're a better person. Here's Tung. But you can download these on Maker World. Just search Italian brain rot. And you could create your own Italian brain rot characters. There's a Chimpanzini Benanini. He's a chimp and a banana. And then you could just, scare people with them or play with them for some reason. You can even put it on actual fruit there. There's a frog that's a tire and a frog. A cat that's a shrimp. So that's what the children's are doing these days. And I just, hello fellow children. I just try to, hello fellow Gen Alpha. I just try to kind of keep up with them to make sure that I'm hip. Same with Gen Z. Actually, Gen Z, I'm kind of like overlooking now because they're cringe. They're cringe. At least Gen Alpha has like funny stuff going on. Gen Z is just cringe. Sorry, all you Gen Z people. You're not just cringe. You're actually, a lot of you are very smart and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, also cringy. But every single generation is cringy, so including mine. What is Italian Brainrot? All right, moving on. Let's talk about some VR stuff. So I already told you I'm getting a Meta 3 headset. I was trying to find the field of view for it. Couldn't find it. I could search for it here. Let me just search for it here. What is the field of view? The field of view for the Quest 3 is 110 degrees horizontally, 96 vertically. 110. So, what if you're like, what if I wanted 180 degrees field of view? Well, my friend, you're in luck. Because Meta is coming up with, apparently, a wider field of view VR and MR headset, whatever MR means. Ahead of an upcoming technical conference, researchers from Meta's Reality Labs research group published details on the work toward creating an ultra-wide field of view VR and MR headsets that uses novel optics to maintain a compact goggles-style form factor. Holy crap. They look crazy, but... let's see. 2 headsets, each achieving a horizontal field of view of 180 degrees, which is a huge jump, which is around 100 or 110 degrees according to what I just read. Uses high curvature reflective polarizers to achieve the wide field of view in a compact form factor. This is from July 18th, so it's just a couple days ago. Very recent information here, people. The other is an MR headset. So what is MR? Mixed reality. It must be mixed reality. Which uses the same underlying optics and head mount, but also incorporates 4 pass-through cameras to provide an ultra-wide pass-through field of view to match the headset's field of view. Cameras total 80 megapixels of resolution at 60 FPS. Here's the mixed reality. Looks like when you go to the doctor's office and they check your vision, but mixed with Atari-style casing. The researchers compared the field of view of their experimental headsets to that of the current Quest 3. In the case of the MR headset, you can clearly see the advantages of the wider field of view. User can easily see someone who is in a chair right next to them and has peripheral awareness of a snack in their lap. Well, wow. That is a huge deal. I want to make sure I don't lose my snack. Here's the Quest 3 field of view, and here's the our field of view. Yes, so you can see in the Quest, you can't see the guy, but now you can. And the snack, there's the snack right there. See, if you have a snack, you want to see it, you really want to see that snack. Both experimental headsets, so they're not for sale, appear to use something similar to the outside-in constellation tracking system that Meta used on its first consumer headset, the Oculus Rift CV1. We've seen Constellation pop up on a number of Reality Lab research headsets over the years, likely because it's easier to use for rapid iteration compared to the inside-out tracking systems. Researchers point out similar wide field of view headsets already exist in the consumer market, like the Pimax, but it is freaking huge. Which I do want one of these, by the way. But it is huge. It's huge. So they have a form factor comparable to current consumer devices. So things are becoming better, ladies and gentlemen. Things are becoming better. We still need, I don't know, with VR, we still need it to be not like, it's still pretty clunky, like the Quest 3 is still kind of clunky. It's kind of big, kind of clunky, doesn't last very long battery life-wise. Got to get extra batteries. You still look weird. Let's see. So, sounds cool. Will it come out with something with it in the near future? I don't know. Probably not. Meta does lots of R&D and has shown off many research prototypes over the years featuring technologies that have yet to make it to market. They have spent so much money. 40-something billion, I think it was, on like VR stuff. Or maybe that's just metaverse. I'm not even sure. For instance, back in 2018, Meta, at the time still called Facebook. Have people got used to Meta now, or do you still wish it was... Well, Meta is the Meta company that owns Facebook. So Facebook still exists, but you have the company called Meta, which owns all the other stuff. I don't know. I don't know if I like the idea of them taking the word Meta as their company name. Excuse me. A little preposterous. But people were complaining about it back when it was created. Showing a research prototype headset. I don't know if people have gotten used to Twitter being called X yet. I've gotten a little more used to it, and I've been kind of calling it X lately. But the thing is, I still think it should be called Twitter. If you want to call like your parent company X, that's fine. But like Twitter should still be Twitter. Twitter's a way better name. I'm going to X post this instead of I'm going to tweet this. Like, what? What? Come on. Nearly 7 years later, the company still hasn't shipped a headset with varifocal technology. What the heck is varifocal technology? As the company itself will tell you, it all comes down to trade-offs. Meta CEO, CTO, Chief Technology Officer, I'm guessing. Pursuing a wider field of view in consumer headsets bring too many downsides in terms of price, weight, battery life, etc. But there's always the chance that the latest research causes him to change his mind. If there comes about a significant technological leap, like something like pancake lenses, then it could be something that could happen. But there's always a chance that this latest research causes him to change his... Yeah. Kind of cool. We'll see if they do anything with it. We'll see how that plays out. And that is your VR news for today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you liked that. However, what is the VR potential? Did you ever sit down in your chair and go, what is VR's true potential? What is its true potential? And you might have thought, video games, interactive VR movies. No, ladies and gentlemen, that is not VR's potential, as we will see here. Ahem. Actually, you may have guessed just by looking at this picture right here. Virtual reality technology is at a critical point full of potential that has not yet fully been realized. While it may seem like first-person experiences are the future of VR, there's a whole untapped market that could help dominate the VR industry. Like what, you would say? What would be that thing? It often disappoints thanks to low-power chipsets, can't even compete with modern consoles. But you know what? You don't have to compete in terms of graphics to have a good game. Yes, it would be cool if they were like modern consoles. You can have great games without... There's plenty of great games that have lower graphics, lower quality graphics. In fact, some of my favorite ones are like Final Fantasy IX. And it looks like utter crap. Because it's PlayStation graphics. And they tried to... So you know how Final Fantasy VII was like the characters like really blocky and low res? Like polygonal? And then 9 is like they try to make them super detailed, but because of the low quality graphics of the PlayStation 1, it's very messy. It's very messy looking. So anyway, now you know that. So glad you know that now. However, the minute you play a game like Daimyo with PC-level graphics via Oculus Link, you'll start to see how much potential a headset like the Meta Quest 3 has. And the Meta Quest 3, I don't know how recent it was, but they came out with, now you're capable of plugging in an HDMI to the headset and use it basically just as a screen. So you can play your video games and use your Meta as a screen on from whatever device that has an HDMI output. You need to get a capture card, but whatever. So you got a PC, you can play it on your your headset just as a screen, and there's not going to be any lag or anything because it's just projecting the image. There's same thing with like any console, I would imagine. Same thing with your laptop. I bet I could just plug my laptop in and then use it as a screen. Yeah, right? Should be able to do that. Just direct, so you don't have to wait for like Wi-Fi or anything. First-person technology isn't there yet. Isn't. Virtual reality has some big limitations that stop it from reaching its full immersive potential, especially in first-person gaming. One big issue is the hardware. Sure. When you decide to buy a VR headset, you realize they're heavy. They're kind of heavy, I guess, but they're not that heavy. I mean, even with, like, when I had the Quest 2, it was a little heavy, whatever. And then I even had, like, a strap with, like, a battery on it, like a battery pack head strap thing, this whole thing. And, yeah, it was, I could feel it. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but obviously you want it lighter. Obviously. They usually have lower resolution. Yes, it's all a trade-off. Obviously, you get the VR experience for everything else is like less. Despite that, they cost a lot of money. It's like $400 or $500 for the 3, $500, and then the 3S is like $300. I don't know, whatever. I don't know that I would say that's a lot of money. Consoles are in the hundreds of dollars, $500, $600, $700 for like Xboxes and PlayStations. So I don't know if I would call that a lot of money. I mean, yeah, there's other ones that are $1,000, $1,200, whatever, as we've seen, $3,500. But no, there's like a range of prices. So I don't know if I would call that a lot of money. If everybody buys $1,000 cell phones, is that a lot of money? Maybe they can do more, but they're not VR, okay? The unfortunate part is this causes beyond just the hardware, the experience is its own problem. Motion sickness. Yeah, I had some motion sickness at the beginning when I was using that too. I got over it after a few days, I think. Just a few days. It's going to be different for everybody, I'm sure. So maybe there's some app or something that maybe it exists right now. I don't know. That kind of eases you into it, and it's like does something with like lights and like movement and stuff to like get you used to motion sickness before you start using it. Mismatch of what the eye sees and what the body feels. You can get used to this, but there's a lot to ask for when the game looks worse than their flat TV equivalent. Yeah, I mean, so it's true what they're saying, that there are several barriers to entry, or it's a little bit more difficult to get into than like TV or than like your console, your PC, etc. But think of it this way, like, you had to get used to those things when you were young, when you started playing those things. When you started playing a PlayStation, you had to get used to the controls and a controller. And when you started watching TV when you were very young, or using an iPad or whatever, you had to learn how to use it, and you had to learn how to, I guess, watch it. I don't know. And so even though like the barrier to entry for like consoles and stuff, like video games, I guess that would be a more direct comparison. Yeah, you have to learn like the controls and everything, and how to use the controls and the cognitive function of brain to hand movement and stuff. So that's kind of the same here. You have to like cognitively learn the different screen and all that stuff. I just think it's kind of like part of kind of almost learning anything. So I don't think it's different in terms of like it's just something to learn. It's different in terms of like it's an additional thing to learn versus doing what everybody currently does. That's kind of like what the real problem is. Processing power for VR isn't just at a point where it can match games of today. True, except for there's a lot of games, again, that are great that don't need a lot of processing power. But I understand. It doesn't match the top games, the ones with the best quality. It's a big issue when you're trying to appeal to players who are used to their first-person games looking amazing. This isn't even a case of Fortnite versus Call of Duty. It's a comparison between the original Resident Evil 4 and the latest Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Doesn't seem like a good idea to base the technology around first-person implementations and ask for console-worthy price up front just to buy games that fall short of current gen. False, because obviously you're getting the VR experience. So that's totally false. Because, yeah, there's the trade-off. You get the VR experience for lower quality in other areas. So, and it's gonna change over time. It's gonna go up over time. So it does seem like a good idea to base a technology around first-person implementations and ask for console-worthy price just to buy games that fall short of current-gen console visuals. It does seem like a good idea. It's just that, I don't know, maybe it's not good enough for mass adoption or something like that. Like, if it was super easy to use, if it wasn't clunky, if the battery lasted a long time, if it looked cooler, maybe you could wear it out to in public. But the quality of the graphics was still low compared to other consoles. I think they'd be super popular. I think people would be like, I don't care if it's lower quality. Look at all this other cool stuff I can do, and I don't look crazy with this big chunky thing on my head. But it goes on. What other things is it saying about it that are bad from a game development standpoint? Challenges. Yeah, like, I think VR games are usually smaller than regular games, right? Like, don't take as long to beat because it's more complicated and expensive. But what is the thing that they're talking about that could be the untapped market for VR? Well, tabletop games, and I've seen like they have some tabletop stuff that you can use VR with. I think like Apple's VR headset, they were touting this idea of using a lot of AR, augmented reality type stuff, tabletop stuff. This is something that I think could be cool. Surprisingly, VR is an excellent match for board games because it provides benefits that traditional formats simply cannot offer. One major advantage is unmatched accessibility and convenience. Players no longer have to move pieces by hand, and the time-consuming setup and cleanup of physical boards become unnecessary. Imagine VR destroying like the board game market, like the physical board game market, but then also increasing the board game market because people are making them all in VR. And then having what do you call it? Paid upgrades, like loot boxes for like Monopoly, and you can get like upgraded Monopoly pieces. The digital space removes the need for physical game parts, making it easy for people to connect with friends and family no matter where they are. Let's see. It also opens up new possibilities for players with disabilities. This is a big thing. I actually just saw, we have it in another room here at the office. We have a 3D printed Braille Rubik's Cube. It's a regular Rubik's Cube, but there's like Braille little flat pieces with the Braille that you glue all over it so that someone who is visually impaired can use it. But it allows, I guess someone who's blind may not benefit too much from VR. Yeah. Allowing them to enjoy games they might otherwise struggle with due to limited fine motor skills, since they can use controllers. And do they call blindness a disability? I guess is that a handicap? I don't know the technical terms. The technology can also simplify gameplay by using artificial intelligence to manage complicated rules and check whether moves are valid. Beyond just being practical, VR's limited graphical capability can still offer an improvement on the static nature of tabletop games. VR lets players see the game world in an animated way, which could be cool. You play a Gundam game and you see the Gundams fighting each other. That would be kind of cool. DeMeo did this very well, where the players see their board come to life, and the game only needs to make sure what's on the board looks great. DeMeo. I have not seen this. Hopefully they don't swear in it, or...
Alright boys, what's the plan of attack here?
You gotta get the key and then we gotta go to the exit.
Alright, I'm gonna try to take out this little spider looking
Okay, I'm gonna have to play this.
Take him out.
Where are we going? Should we go in here? Ooh, a chest. Oh, we got a card. Ooh, nice.
Do I need to save you?
Use a card. You got a card?
Okay, hang on, I got this.
You got a card? Is that how people pay?
Oh!
You got a card? Yeah, I got a card. I got 5 cards, man.
I got you. I got you.
Let's do this.
Whoa, nice!
That looks fun. So I guess it's a Dungeons & Dragons style game. DeMeo gives players the experiences they expect from Dungeons & Dragons and lets them keep the tabletop feel while also saying that their decisions have weight in the game world. The rest of the world could be a tavern or another fantasy setting, or it could be your home and pass-through mode. That'd be really fun to play tabletop games with VR, because like the storyline and like a dragon appears and then it lands and then it's the dragon character miniature. It's easy to imagine how this would work socially. The shared virtual environment and interactive features feel real, so players can hang out with their friends without sharing the same physical space, obviously. Built-in voice chat systems along with visual avatar. Yeah, of course. There are plenty of games that could still flourish in VR. So what is this? My Little Pony? Sid Meier's Civilization? Is that what that is? Virtual reality has huge potential in certain types of games and well-known franchises that are a perfect match for its special features. Even though we've seen the technology focus most on a first-person gaming, there are many tabletop games. Strategy games have a lot of promise. Unlike playing on a flat screen, VR lets players see the game from high up. Godlike view where they can look over the battlefields or entire civilizations if they were in charge. That's a good point, because like with board games or tabletop games, you're sitting like off to the side, right? So like it may be hard to see everything and to reach over, you know, half a mile away just to like pick up a piece or something, depending on how big the game is. Strategy games have a lot of promise, including RTS and grand strategy games. 4X, what does that mean? I don't know what that is. Unlike playing on a flat screen, VR lets players see the game from a high up. Oh yeah, okay. VR games give players a much stronger sense of size and presence, making them feel like they're standing over a real map. Famous games like StarCraft, Warcraft, Total War, Risk, and Civilization 7, already on MetaQuest 3, could feel different and more immersive. Even isometric RPGs like Baldur's Gate. VR is a goldmine, but developers are looking for silver. Oh. Huh. Yeah, so lower effort, I guess, games, right? Not the AAA stuff. So the gap exists because of financial and strategic obstacles that discourage developers from going after ambitious top-tier projects, pushing them towards safer, smaller-scale games. Yeah, do more of those. Do the tabletop. Do the Warhammers. Do the Gundam card games. One major financial hurdle is the small size of the VR market. Yeah, and that's the chicken and the egg thing that I think I talked about in the last stream. Does it say right here? No. The chicken and the egg thing is the market is small, but to make the market bigger, you need to have supposedly more expensive or better games and stuff. But to have the money to make those better games and movies and stuff for VR, you need to have the market to be able to pay for it. By 2020, even though it still seems to be growing, VR is still a niche part of the larger gaming industry. By 2020, fewer than 2% of Steam users owned a VR headset. Total active user base has stayed around 2.7 million. Dang. So stayed around. Many report that their sales often fall short of expectations, with traditional flat screen versions of games outselling VRs by as much as 500%. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think a lot of that is the graphics. Now I think about it. If you just have way better graphics on a flat screen, then that's probably a big thing. But also just like putting on the headset, you know, it's clunky. This limited profit may be because developers aren't focused on the right audience. So, good point. If they were like, well, what if we did a lot of tabletop gaming? And maybe VR then kind of switches to that audience and it's like really big in the tabletop gaming community. Wouldn't that be interesting? And yeah, everybody was wearing like the big screens. Warhammer 40K and Dungeons & Dragons aren't as cheap as they look. Tabletop and board game players are used to paying high costs to start playing. VR developers should be targeting that audience. Yeah, like some of these Warhammer miniatures can be very expensive, or buying a bunch of them can be expensive. DeMeo was a big risk because it wasn't a first-person game. It only focused on making the tabletop look fantastic, and it seemed to appeal to what PC developers would consider a niche audience. The game made $500,000 in 48 hours and has passed 25 million already. Holy crap. That's really good for... I mean, it sounds really good. I would assume it's really good. I know that video games can make like hundreds of millions of dollars, and they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to make them. So depending on how much they spent here, 25 million sounds like a lot. I believe that VR could be a dominant platform, but if the industry keeps focusing on genres that are making a ton of money, it'll eventually go under. Adjust and invest. So, all this are good points. Yeah, I wonder if tabletop gaming, tabletop card games, like Gundam, which is what I'm looking to get into, and Magic and that kind of thing. Warhammer, all the other ones. What's the new one with... Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, but like the other Dungeons and Dragons one, the newer one, I'm talking about some kind of name. Anyway, yes, so I pretty much agree with everything here. Let's see, nobody said anything in the comments. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Is VR stagnant, or if they just changed to tabletop gaming or something? I actually am curious to think about what other industries there might be that it could jump into to popularize it more, other than tabletop gaming. So let's see here. What do we got going on? 3D printing. I guess we should talk about 3D printing since this is a 3D printing channel. It's probably a good idea. We got some just information on like the current market of 3D printing. Tariff fears cause a surge in entry-level 3D printing sales. Chinese companies account for 95% of entry-level machines shipped globally. So 3D printing as a whole is continuing to grow. The market is. The industry is. However, there's some parts of the industry that might be stagnant or even going down while some are going up. Fears of new U.S. tariffs may have caused shipments of consumer-level 3D printings to surge. Or in other words, less expensive ones, I'm guessing is what they're talking about there. Yeah, less expensive, higher-performing machines like Bamboo Labs. Or more costly professional industrial machines. But that's pretty recent. So, like, really? Because Bamboo became very popular before the tariffs, right? So, like, I don't know if that... Maybe it's making it even more popular. So, anything under, like, $2,500 is what they're saying here is considered like a lower end or what do they call it? Consumer level. So the H2D without a laser would be considered an entry level, according to them. Now, the company's latest report on Q1 data, so I'm guessing that's this year, right? Q1 just finished recently. More than 1 million entry-level machines were shipped worldwide from January to March of this year. Now, that is a 15% year-over-year increase. Is that good? That seems pretty good, right? At least it's growing still, 15%. While industrial shipments were down 17%, and mid-range pro machines were down 13%. So industrial and mid-range were down the last 12 months. And this shows a clear shift in buying habits as another market intelligence company, Mordor Intelligence. What? Are you serious? Mordor Intelligence? Mordor? I gotta look up Mordor Intelligence. That sounds crazy. Suggests that additive manufacturing as a whole is growing. Global 3D printing market reached $25.32 billion in 2024, expected to grow to $66 billion by 2030. Desktop 3D printing, where consumer-level 3D printers reside, is a sizable part of the equation, reaching $6.7 billion in 2025. Among the so-called entry-level brands, Chinese companies account for 95%. So obviously, I'm guessing that just has to do with how much cheaper we can get things from China, theoretically. However, with some of the brands, they've done a great job with quality as well. So Bamboo, they can do high quality and at least a competitive price, relatively cheap for what it can do. I guess there's a good like balance of value there, right? Creality maintained its position as the market leader in the category with a 39% share, even though its unit sales dipped by 3%. 39%, wow. And then Bamboo Lab has been exploding with 64% year-over-year gains. Flashforward and Elegoo also poses strong gains. So Creality kind of lost some share. I guess they were like the dominant force here. Elegoo refused to comment on their sales numbers, citing confidentiality. Prusa, is it called Prusa? I don't like that. Prusa. I'll call it Prusa until someone tells me not to. They straddled the lines, two of their machines crossing the Pro Industrial side, the XL and the Pro HT90. But they have the Core 1 released toward the end of Q1. Will supposedly shake up the entry-level category, so we will find out how well that goes. I've not watched any videos on the Core 1. I don't think... maybe I saw one video on it. Core 1 was going to shake things up in the category and claim the crown. Is it really? It's affordable, prints fantastic quality from PLA and PGG, even with the closed door, and handles tough materials like PC and ASA, better than a lot of more expensive machines. No surprise we're seeing double-digit growth year-on-year. Double-digit growth. Nice. Let's see what they say about the future of 3D printing. It isn't just becoming more widely adopted. The Mordor intelligence. Report found that using 3D printers for prototyping parts was only 42% of the reason companies use additive manufacturing. This suggests that companies are embracing 3D printing for manufacturing finished products, finished parts, and artists and 3D creators that make their own cute little figurines and stuff. The medical industry is using resin 3D printing more and more to produce dental implants and surgical guides, while power bed fusion is being used in the automotive and aerospace industries. Power bed fusion, what the heck is that? Companies are using 3D printing to manufacture personalized goods, and we're not just talking about a mug with your name on it. Custom eyewear frames are becoming popular, made to spec sporting goods such as golf clubs, football helmets, and shoes. Yeah, there's a lot of shoes, as you've probably seen some of my other, which I don't have any new shoe. I didn't even look today if there was like any new 3D printed shoes out, but there's not going to be any shoe news today. What does it say? Power bed fusion? What the heck is power bed fusion? So there you go, man. That's kind of the state of the industry right now. Power bed fusion is the next thing, apparently. 3D printing process that builds objects layer by layer by fusing powdered... Okay, so it's powdered. Power bed fusion. Okay. Fuses the powder. So with like metal, I believe they can do that with... And I think it's in the powder. Like there's a big vat of powder. They shoot the laser beam inside of it, yeah. And then it fuses. That's what it is right there. And then you have to like brush away the powder. Do we have a machine at Matter Hackers? I'm not sure that we have a powder bed fusion. Yeah, we do. And then we have like the thing that blows it all off, I believe. Or like shoots it all off. Yeah, I believe we have one of these. So that is kind of the update on the current state of 3D printing. Seems like it's still continuing after the information from the Q1 of this year. Still growing. Some of the parts of the industries are shrinking a little bit, but the consumer side of things is growing, and overall it's growing, which is good news. And hopefully it becomes more widely adopted. I would personally love to see every home having their own 3D printer, or a couple, resin and then also FDM, both. Unless one, happens to become much better, like maybe resin somehow. They can use different materials that are maybe similar to like PLA and stuff. Or like other kinds of plastics. I don't know how they would do that, but... Because resin's liquid. Maybe they can liquefy PLA. That'd be kind of weird. So that was kind of the general industry recently. People have been talking about 3D guns, 3D printed guns for a while. I don't know what my opinion is on this. Just because, first of all, I don't really know the law. So is it illegal to just 3D print a gun? I think you can 3D print some parts, but not necessarily the hardware for it. which is like the part that's considered the actual gun. This is not legal advice. I actually don't know any of this. One of the world's largest digital design platforms, Thingiverse, is taking new steps to block 3D printed guns and gun parts after investigators in New York discovered an alarming number of design files for 3D printed weapons available for download. They talk about the Manningo guy, Mangione, that ended the life of the medical company guy, I believe. So they're kind of cracking down on this. I would like to learn more about this. Generally, I don't see it shouldn't. I don't think that people should be limited from printing their own weapons. However, there obviously is a safety concern there that should be at least thought about. I don't think it should be necessarily illegal. But there's a process with buying guns, like background check and all that stuff. Ideally, like everybody's good and they don't shoot each other, right? But ideally, underneath it, there are home. What would you call it? That like your parents, when you're a kid, teaches you how to properly manage a handgun and teach you well so that you don't want to go and hurt other people. And if that were to happen, and if most people or everybody like was safe with guns and stuff, then why wouldn't anybody just be allowed to print their own guns at home without government interference? If everybody was like taught properly and stuff. That doesn't happen though. So then the government has to get involved because parents are not going to teach their kids like proper. They're not going to give their kids handguns and then teach them how to use them properly and safety and everything, and then teach them how to become good people, because a lot of parents don't do that. Not you, of course, watching, but there's a lot of like not proper teaching of children going on in general. So therefore, the government needs to be like, okay, we're going to step in and kind of act as your parent and go, there are restrictions to buying guns, like you have to pass a background check and all this stuff. So regulations, I don't consider a bad thing overall in general. It's just where to apply them and where not to apply them. That's the question. And the thing with these ghost guns, 3D printed guns, is it can bypass the regulations, right? So it can bypass getting the background check. And so therefore, it bypasses that safety barrier of like, we got to make sure to some extent that this situation is safe. And it bypasses that stuff which could potentially mean that the situation could be unsafe, theoretically. Now, maybe some people just want to be like, I don't want the government to be involved in my life in that way, and I'm not going to hurt anybody with a gun. I just want my own gun, and I just want to shoot it in the gun range and stuff. And I've done training or, whatever. And so I wouldn't have a problem with that kind of person having a untraceable ghost gun. But again, it's about the general public and how are you going to determine which ones of those people they are. You kind of have to prove it to someone, maybe. Maybe you don't. Maybe everybody should just be given a gun at birth. Maybe that would solve some problems, You might be like, wait a minute. Everybody would just shoot each other and there'd be mass murder and death. Well, if everybody had a gun, I think there would be less shootings because people like their lives, People like their lives. If everybody had a gun, wouldn't you be like being like, maybe I'm not going to cause problems so my life isn't ended because someone else has a gun. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, if everybody think about it for a second. If everybody had a gun, they were strapped from birth, would someone else be like, I'm going to fight you? Or would they think twice about that and be like, maybe more kind? This is a theory. Would that actually happen? I don't know. But just think about it for a second. Like, if everybody had a gun, that means you have the threat of death at all times. Would you act kinder, or would you challenge people and like get mad at people and then potentially die? Because people, again, like their lives, right? So More recently, the ghost guns have evolved into weapons that can be made with nothing more than a 3D printer and a computer. I should read this with like a scary voice. So anyways, Thingiverse is doing something about it. They're restricting 3D printed gun designs because guns are bad and they're evil and they're scary. But also because, like I mentioned, it can bypass regulations and all that stuff, which can be good for society. So I'm not an expert at society. This is something I would have to do a lot more research to find out what my actual opinions are. Moving on. And then there was like another article that talked about 3D printing patterns that could track ghost guns. But this is something I talked about in another episode where it's just that different printers have different patterns. Now the question is, and then you could just look at it and trace it back to the original printer, and that's how they could find out who printed the ghost gun. My question is, what if you like change the settings on the print? Like what if you're like, okay, I'm going to print it with this infill and with this print pattern. But what if you change the print pattern and all that stuff? Would they be able to trace it then? Because you could just like change it every print. Be like, okay, I'm going to now print in this pattern and it won't trace it. But maybe even they can find that out even if the patterns change. But what if you change the nozzle after every print? Would that change it? It might. I'm not going to sign up to find out, but... Oh, sorry. Here we go. I'm not going to sign up to find out because this article requires you to sign up, but these are the patterns they're talking about. Well, hope everybody's having a good day. There's some other cool stuff going on, like video game. There's this, we'll just do a little quick thing. Maybe I'll just put all this in kind of like one little clip. There's a cool, I just found out about this right now, but there's a cool Nintendo 3D Nintendo 64 remake. Analogue 3D is the company, I believe. Or just Analogue. But Nintendo 64 remake, they have created this, and there was some kind of delay, but they're apparently going to still come out with it. They've been working on it for a little while now. Here it is. This is really cool, actually. So it's going to be like $250 or something like that. I think they were talking about tariffs or something, but they were going to absorb the costs, if I'm not mistaken. But take a look at how cool that is. And the cool thing is like you're like, okay, so what? Couldn't I just get an N64 console? Yeah, but this is updated. It's new so that it's not going to be like a how many decades old device that could potentially have problems. In addition, it's wireless, so I believe you can just use wireless controllers with it, if I'm not mistaken. A reimagining of the N64 in 4K resolution. So that sounds really cool. I'm going to have to look up some YouTube videos on this. 10x the resolution of the original N64. Wow, I didn't realize it was so low. The first and perhaps greatest multiplayer system of all time. Analogue 3D is 100%. I'm definitely probably going to have to buy this. Bluetooth LE. Dual band Wi-Fi, 4 original style controllers, entirely new next generation analog hardware featuring 3D OS engineered entirely in FPGA, no emulation. So that's the thing, is it's not an emulator. Yeah, it's actually like hardware, whatever, can read the games and stuff, how they're supposed to be read, apparently. That sounds really cool. Star Wars Racer was one of my favorite games. I played it on the computer though. But yeah, this looks cool. I definitely might have to get this. Definitely might. I do want to see how it looks, what the quality is on a screen. And then they have a controller here. Like, look at how cool that is. That looks like a pro controller. Around 70% of the game library supports multiplayer. It isn't just an option, it's the heart of the experience. In-person multiplayer. That looks cool. A wireless Bluetooth recreation of the original N64 controller with a modern form factor crafted with an uncompromising attention. I wonder if people will use this for, like, I don't know, competitive play or things like, the Speedrunning community. I wonder if they may not want to use wireless, but I wonder if these can be plugged in. But the speedrunning community may take one of these and use it for speedrunning. They may have to have a new category, like not using the original console and controller. Yeah. Kind of cool. I might have to get one of these. I remember the day when Mario 64 was in the store and you would go and check it out and be like blown away by the graphics, the new graphics. Pretty crazy, and you could play them at the store. Super, super cool. And they got their little pocket. Don't know what this is. It kind of looks PlayStation-esque. It's called the Duo. The higher energy analog system. Reimagining of one of the most underappreciated video game systems of all time. Compatible with nearly every NEC system and game format ever made. I don't know what this is. Turbo graphics, super graphics, turbo graphics, PC Engine, Super Arcade, zero lag, Duo OS. Sorry, I don't know what this console is. And then they have, this looks like Sega. Really well designed. Sega 16-bit and 8-bit. No emulation. Again, this is our analog devices. Ooh, cool. That looks sweet. Super NT. I really did like the Super Nintendo, but every time I tried like replaying it as an adult, I lost interest pretty quickly. It's kind of like a pick up and play for a little while and then you're done type of thing. For me, it's not like something where you just play for a long time. Unlike PlayStation 1 with like the Final Fantasy games, for example. NT Mini. So maybe this does both Nintendo and Nintendo's Super Nintendo? Not sure. New and perfected NES cartridge. Looks like it has 2 cartridge slots for some reason. DAC, is this for music? Digital to, oh, it's a converter. So there you go. Cool looking products, designed well. The website's designed well. So pick up your own Nintendo 64, but it's not called a Nintendo 64. They are out of stock, so you cannot pick one up. Ships August 2025. If you click on this, you can maybe pre-order, notify, so you can be notified. Limit 2 per order. I hope they sell a lot of them. I hope they work really well because they are pretty sweet. I will probably, once they come in again, I'll save up a little money and possibly get the N64 one. I don't know. At least take a look at them again. Watch some videos of people using it and see how good they are and stuff before purchasing. Looks sweet. Looks sweet. Really well designed. I like the designs. And in other weird news before we go today, what the frick is this? Oops. This I just thought this was funny. I don't know how I found it. That's the actual car. Someone made this car. The world's narrowest Fiat Panda drives around as a fully functional and single-seat electric car. Some people are nuts. Look at that. This looks like if you like, you know, scrunched in an image, or you cut it and then like put it together again. Cut it in half, put it together again. It's so funny. Ah, it's wild. Insane. Okay, where's the video? There's like a video around here that shows it. Him driving around. Where's the video? There's no video. There was a video. I swear there was a video. I just thought that was funny. You know what? Don't worry about it. Like, just something else that's kind of cool. Talking about possibly VR. This could be a VR thing. Billie Eilish says she's working with James Cameron on some sort of 3D concert thing. Eilish told fans that Cameron was in the audience at her shows this week filming a secret 3D project. I'm going to go ahead and guess that he is directing Billie Eilish's concert for a VR experience, a VR concert experience. Surprise collaboration at a concert in Manchester last night, revealing that there were many more cameras in the arena than usual because they were working on a project with someone named James Cameron. And it's going to be 3D. Yeah. What else could it be? It's a James Cameron. I mean, maybe it's a documentary of Billie Eilish, directed by James Cameron. I think it's a VR concert, which I do want to try, and I'll probably make videos about when I get the Quest 3. I'll probably make videos about the different concerts. They have like VR concerts in them. They have VR concerts. And finally, ladies and gentlemen,
this is a Thundernova 51 laser. This machine is absolutely incredible. What kind of project would you make in your shop if you had this laser? This is a Thundernova 51 laser. This machine is absolutely incredible. What kind of project would you make in your shop if you had this laser?
Wait, did she say something?
Is a Thundernova 51 laser. This machine is absolutely incredible. What kind of project would you make in your shop if you had this laser?
Thunder what?
This is.
What was she talking about? Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me today. I had a good time. I had a great time. There always just seems to be some cool news going on with. These are kind of the topics that I'm interested in. So stuff that has to do with these hobbies, right? I used to play card games in like middle school and high school. And then I stopped playing, and since then I never really did any hobbies very much, except for photography. That was kind of my hobby for a long time. But I want to get back into some of these fun hobbies that are just for fun. That's kind of all they are. They're just for fun. Yeah, and also as well as they're for, interacting with other people. I realized that if I want to like interact with other people and build additional friendships and connect with people, that might be good to do hobbies. Having said that, some of these are going to be very nerdy hobbies, so I'm probably going to be connecting with very nerdy people, but that's fine because I do like nerdy people and I have traditionally been a nerd. But yeah, so anyways, things like card games, I'm not going to get into that too much probably just like check out the Gundam stuff. Things like Nerf is fun, and other technologies that are like games that like Nerf that are growing. I'll probably check out. Obviously VR and AR type stuff, because that is kind of a side sister industry to 3D printing in a sense. I'm just saying it is, all right? I don't care what you say. It is, all right? It just is. So just relax, all right? And, of course, 3D printing. Probably not too much video games, except for VR stuff, right? And then I'm just planning on doing a lot of crazy stuff. But this is a podcast, so like podcast style. It's kind of hard to do podcasts that have to do with 3D printing and make it like super entertaining, right? At least in my mind, that's how it is right now. So I'm going to try to make it more entertaining. I'd love to have your ideas. And hopefully it'll be a cool little variety style show with multiple people. I've had Michael at Matter Hackers on here, but it'd be cool to have him again, as well as like other people. I just haven't really like asked people. So, and the more I grow, the more people I'll be able to ask, because that's kind of like the power that you get with social media and with YouTube is the bigger your following and views, the more power you have to be able to do things like ask bigger people to be on your show. But yeah, that's about it. If you or anybody else wants to be on this show for fun or whatever, or would like me to be on your show, that would be cool. Have a good one. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, also, your stream's done. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to subscribe, and if you want to check out it's going to be over by the time you watch but next month I will be doing a giveaway. So be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you later.